Prabhuji will give the lecture, and after that we will have Gaura Arti and Narsimha Arti and then Prasadam. So let us start for today. Hare Krishna.
Could someone use a link in our chat? Maybe you can do it. And check that we have sound on the stream. Все, можно ли потенциально? Does anyone play kartals?
Oh, do you know how to do?
I don't.
Small, bigger ones?
Small ones. I'll just try. I'm not good.
But he is not. Mataji, he is not very good.
I'm not.
He is not very good.
I'm just.
He can just.
In WhatsApp there is a link to our stream. Just check it there. We have sound.
I'm going to record everything.
Okay, we start with the curtain. Севушка, я сейчас буду петь, пожалуйста, садись. Рядышком. Можешь себе взять подушку, садись. Будешь тоже помогать.
Помогать.
Сидеть и подпевать. Хорошо? Намо Вишну Падая Кришна Приштая Бутале Шримати Бхактивиданта Свами Нити Номине Намасте Сарасвати Деви Гауравани Прачарине Нидишеша Шуньявади Паштатя Дешатарине Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Harinama Sankirtana Yajna ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Thank you for the kirtan. I saw Manidhara Prabhu is already there, and so he'll come shortly. I think he's dressed already. Huh?
You reached it?
Yeah, he's here.
I think
Manidhara Prabhu lecturer. Ты можешь туда к стеночке ложись? Да. Сейчас я приду.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna, Prasad. Hare इनके यहाँ तो केवल मतलब नाम जब कोई बोलता है हमारे भजन इसलिए बनाया गया ऐसा है ना कि हम लोग बोल रहे हैं तो आप उनके लिए उनकी कहानी या तो गलत नहीं
बाहर वगैरह नहीं
है ऐसे बनाया ना कि बोलना हो ये तक कोई स्टोरीज बताते हैं कृष्ण हाँ भजन वो लेके जाते हैं सब लोग कैफे का फोन है तो कि खेलने को बोलते हैं 5 मिनट कॉल करना देखते हैं घर बहुत सुन बोला शिवा शिवा करके सो गया मारा के जैसे नहीं रो मारा को तो फ्रेंड मिल गई अच्छा
I don't think his microphone now because there is nobody out there. Put it later.
मैं करता हूँ मुझे करना है मुझे करना है
He's dressing, right? Okay.
You could, Maybe we can chant just a little bit while waiting. Hare Krishna. Did you sing more? No, we finished with kirtan, so we can. Yeah. So shall we chant more or shall we just speak? Or you can start maybe with small kirtan. Huh? We can start with small kirtan and a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit. I got some pack of books here, 10 Bhagavad Gitas,
Yes.
you know where they landed?
Yes,
Yes, it was yours. Oh, there. Oh, it's okay. It was yours.
Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamti Naman Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shinyavari Pashkati Data. Hare Krishna. Maybe I could have one of this Bhagavad Gita. This, yeah, that and that.
One English is also good.
English for reading, right?
Yeah, just some Bhagavad Gita, just some. Anything, yeah. Anything, can be closed, doesn't matter.
It's the Swedish one, so something like what I was saying.
Even if it is sealed, it is
Oh, Swedish one, yeah. Okay. So, as it customary on the Sunday in these programs, we usually speak from and about one book. Today is a very special day in one sense, because today Bhagavad Gita, as it is specially celebrated because it's the anniversary of the day which Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Now, of course, we may say we don't know exactly the date because it's many thousands of years ago. But still, astrologically, there was actually in India a calculation made when Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The place is still today there. There are as Prabhupada comments right away in the introduction, there is around maybe 600 editions of Bhagavad Gita. But Srila Prabhupada didn't consider one single one of them being authorized. Why? Because always the translator of the original text, which is in Sanskrit, gave it its own interpretation. In other words, his own subjective view. So therefore, when Bhagavad Gita was published, originally devotees thought we will publish a book, Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said, no, there must be something more. There must be something as it is, which distinguish this version of Bhagavad Gita from the others, because this is the unique position of Srila Prabhupada. He didn't express his opinion. As a matter of fact, even when he traveled, he had one big book with him, like a dictionary. It was quite heavy. And he had it always with him because while he was traveling, he was translating these books. And that book, relating to commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam, included commentaries from the previous acharyas or spiritual teachers, which he, again, didn't change, but he summarized it because some of the commentaries are very extensive, very philosophical, very difficult for common man even to understand. So Prabhupada summarized it in such a way that he picked up the essence of it and didn't change even the wording sometimes, but put it in such a way so it can fit into this one book. Otherwise it would be a Bhagavad Gita like this. And in his comments we find the summary of these commentaries. So this is the unique position of Srila Prabhupada. He didn't change anything. But he presented it in a way so we can actually understand and speak about it. I remember first edition of Bhagavad Gita I got when I was 16 years old. It was a German publication. It's such a little book. It was such a little, like a little booklet. And it was presented as a poem from India. Obviously the author who did that had no idea what this was. But he just liked like poetry, nice. And actually, anyway, I don't want to go in detail, but there was another German 100 years before who presented a German translation of Bhagavad Gita, which is quite accurate. For sure Srila Prabhupada would find some discrepancies, but German language, he even presented it in a rhythm of German language corresponds to the rhythm of Sanskrit. I know it because one of my godbrothers, out of fun, he learned that the whole Bhagavad Gita, just memorize it in German from this man. He knew this Bhagavad Gita also. So he could speak this German Bhagavad Gita. It sounds really very nice, like a poem. But actually, the meaning wasn't changed. Just the shlokas. The translator didn't put his opinion into that. Still, it was not presented by a pure devotee. Pure devotee means somebody who serves Krishna exclusively and purely. He has no other intention. He has no other idea. He has no other purpose. In India, we find so many people who actually make, by recitation of this Bhagavad Gita or even Srimad Bhagavatam, they make a living out of it. They are like professional. And people, pious people think, I hire this man, I pay him a good fee, and he will recite Bhagavad Gita for me. In this way, I don't have to recite anything. He will do this for me. It's like if I would tell you tonight, I go here in Malmö, I go in a bar and I have some drink, and in meanwhile you chant Hare Krishna for me. So you will do the chanting, I will do the drinking. Okay? And in this way, I will be spiritually secured and advancing. But obviously it doesn't work like that. Actually, Krishna consciousness, that's the difficult part. It requires personal engagement, involvement. Like example, anybody coming here, it doesn't matter how many, but anybody coming here today is showing Krishna. Today is a day I go there, I will chant Hare Krishna, I will listen Bhagavad Gita, and that I will do for you actually. Because you could do also other things. I mean, there are so many people in Malmö, they do other things on Sunday. I think by the time of the year they mostly sleep or something like that. You could also sleep. Because dark, not so much going on. People go to sleep or they watch TV. Yeah, it's the football championship. That's important. It's very important to them. 11 men running here kicking ball, 11 men running back kicking ball. And the whole world is watching. Now they are kicking. It's a big thing. It's actually quite childish, It's like big children. They go, now they are kicking, Or there's even more crazy game. I never understood it because I never really followed that. That's not exactly that much of a known in Europe. It's cricket. In India, everybody cricket. That's like There was one man I just saw an article. He got damaged. His legs got amputated, but his dream was that actually one day I can play cricket. Because if you have no legs, you cannot play cricket. So it's like, you think this is very childish. It's really like children, Children also dream, now we will play like this and then we will play like that. And you can see it. They have their really imagination. They think this is something very important going on. Grown-up people, they know, it's like children playing, But there's children sleeping. Why not? That's what children do. If you are tired, you sleep. And you sleep anywhere. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So, this child, we don't mind, it's a good rest. Even he is making even advancement by hearing Bhagavad Gita unknowingly. This is such a powerful book that actually it does, even you don't know the meaning, just by hearing about Bhagavad Gita and hearing Bhagavad Gita, you get some spiritual benefit. Prabhupada said just by touching it. Therefore, our very much heartfelt issue is book production and book distribution. You may be amazed, but Prabhupada didn't came actually here from India to the West, actually even to start a big movement. No. His spiritual master didn't told him to start a big movement. His spiritual master told him, whenever you get some money, print these books. That was a very important instruction he told him personally. Prabhupada never forgot it. Already in India, while being a family man and being engaged in various ways, he was actually publishing his own magazine, Back to Godhead magazine. Himself writing all the articles, editing, bringing to the printer. It became like a newspaper. And he was even himself distributing, besides having his job, And these articles are wonderful. I mean, they are very, because in form of a magazine, Prabhupada could be even more up to date. So he is commenting on the war issue and on the pandemonia issue. That was all happening during Prabhupada's time. There was nothing really new happening, Because Prabhupada wanted to show a Krishna conscious person is aware what's going on and we can comment on anything, but we don't get engaged, we don't get involved. We don't go out there and going, yes, America is good. Yes, Russia is good. No, Russia is bad. No, America is good. And all these things which is going on all the time. As a devotee, we know that this is all under the influence of illusion, Maya. Each single one of these people who think, I am American, I am Russian, I am this, I am that. It's actually, Prabhupada called it the animalistic consciousness because animals are also like that. They think we are the monkeys, we are the cows, we are the donkeys, and they flock together. They are in groups. Like in India, when you attack one monkey, all the monkeys get upset with you. Yeah. I have a practical experience. They go, "Wow!" And it's very dangerous to actually attack a monkey because immediately 100 monkeys is coming. So, so they have this social feeling also. We are the nation. We are the group. But there's nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, has nothing to do with Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, you don't find one word in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna spoken where Krishna goes, the great Hindu said. Hindu. There's no Hindu in Bhagavad Gita. The word is not mentioned. And actually, most of the Indians don't even know what it means. You ask them, what is Hindu? Well, go, that's India, we are Hindus. Yeah, but what does it mean, Hindu? They don't even know that word Hindu was actually introduced not so long time ago by Muslims. Muslims who invaded India came to a river Sindhu. But in a Muslim, I heard it's difficult with this. They have a difficulty to say the Sindhu. So they call it the Hindu. And all the people living beside the river, they called Hindus. Yeah, most Indians don't even know it, but this is a historical fact. And that's how Hindu came about. Before there was no Hindu. It was called Bharatavarsha. The great country, actually, India was the capital of the whole world. Just for the very same reason that actually Krishna and all his incarnations appeared only in India. He didn't appear in Sweden, He didn't appear in England. He appeared in India. Very special place. Therefore in India, a holy place, that we call holy places, places which are related to Krishna and his incarnations, you find them everywhere. You can go to Himalaya, there is Rishikesh, there is holy places filled with Krishna's incarnations. You go to South India, same thing. It's all Krishna's country. It's a very special place. Very special. And there used to be, we know from Mahabharata and from history of India, powerful kings which were actually ruling the whole planet Earth from India. Not only the planet Earth, sometimes they had a dominance even over other planetary systems. And the center was India. So can you imagine what a blessed place that is? Very, very special place. And even until today, there's this message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the recent incarnation of Krishna. He said, whoever is born in this tract of land, Bharatavarsha, he actually should be Krishna conscious and preach Krishna consciousness to others. That's the reason, actually, a very special reason why they are born there. Unfortunately, India has a tradition also in very, I would say, innocent way, copy things. There are a few nations like that. I know a few more nations. Srila Prabhupada once demonstrated that. He was probably one of the first ones, devotees. They actually brought an American car to India for Prabhupada. It was an old car. It was not a new car. So Prabhupada drove this American car, and it was so old, it didn't have any horn, no functioning horn. Devotees found out it's not making any sound. That's in India very bad. The Indians, the first thing the car must have is horn. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't have brakes, it doesn't have all kinds of parts, that doesn't matter. But the horn must be there, And because it's a way of communicating. I'm here. I'm here. In West is insulting. If you horn like this, people will really get upset. What do you want? It's not much happening. You are horning here. What do you want? In India, it's a way of communicating. I'm here. The car had no horn. So Prabhupada, being very practical, he rolled down, the window was down anyway because it's hot. So Prabhupada took his plate, from eating, metal plate, and a spoon, which was always prepared for him, and he leaned out of the window with the plate, and he was banging the plate all the time instead of the horn. Bang, 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 watch out, we are coming. And then Prabhupada started to laugh and he said, look at them, how they are looking. All the ends were looking. First came in the American car, and then came the plate with the spoon, bang, 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 bang. And Prabhupada said, now they will all think, oh, that's how they drive cars in America. Now they will all drive around with the metal plates and going bang, 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 bang like this. This is how easy Indians imitate sometimes things. Prabhupada was very averse to that. Prabhupada said, I didn't came to the West to learn something. I have nothing to learn from you. Not even how to eat, how to sleep, and even how to evacuate. I'm not going to learn from you. We were shocked, when as a new devotees, we thought we know these things. How to eat and how to sleep and how to go to the toilet. I mean, everybody knows. No, we didn't know. Prabhupada was teaching how to do it in a Vedic way. So even that's like normal bodily functions. Prabhupada had to teach us even that. We didn't know. We didn't even know what to eat. We didn't know anything. This is actually, in one sense, a benefit. When we came to Krishna consciousness, we knew nothing. Zero. How God looks like, I don't know. Why is he blue? I don't know. Why is he playing flute? I don't know. We didn't know anything. That's an advantage in one sense, because the only thing we knew and accepted was what Prabhupada told us. Whereby in India, that's another problem. We go and everybody goes, yeah, I know, yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, yeah. But actually, when you look what they are doing, they don't know much because they are not studying really Bhagavad Gita, and they do many things which are contradictory to Bhagavad Gita. So, but they go, yeah, because my father, he was already Bhagavad Gita, yeah, we know. Prabhupada was sometimes very upset about this. And him being from India, that was very interesting for devotees to see. When Prabhupada was in the West, he was quite tolerant. He had to be. Because all the people are so stupid. When you are among stupid people, you have to become very tolerant, okay. You have to go 1 and 1 is 2. And they go, why? So you repeat the whole thing. And 1 and 1 is 2, And they go, So you have to be very patient. But when Prabhupada came to India, that was shocking to devotees to see Prabhupada in India. He became very firm and very, very, very strong and very firm in his expressions. Why? Because people know. Prabhupada used to call sometimes Indians first-class rascal. There's a different classes of rascals. Rascal is somebody who is doing foolish things. But the third-class rascal, he doesn't know. And the second-class rascal, he will know something, but not doing. But the first-class rascal, he knows, but he will anyway not do it. So Prabhupada was very challenging in India. But he was also extremely encouraging. Actually, he said, all Indians are Krishna conscious. Naturally. All Indians are naturally Krishna conscious. It's just a little bit covered. He said, you scratch a little bit on the surface, the covering away, Krishna consciousness comes out. Devotees, I tell you, first time coming to India was shocking. Especially I came first time 1978 to India. It was a different India as today. There was hardly any cars. There's rickshaw, pling, pling, and the holy places were empty places. It was very peaceful, not so crowded like today. But what was shocking was how innocently people accepted us as being devotees. Here in the West you have to fight. I'm a devotee. Ah, you are stupid, you are crazy. No, I'm a devotee. You have to really, In India, they were worshipping us. And they, especially those days, a white devotee, white body devotee was like they thought we all came from heaven, we were all demigods, white and, in India there's a problems you encounter just on a bodily level. When I first time came with my daughter to India, and she was born in Sweden. So Swedish girl means blonde hair. Indian girl means dark hair. And she was the only blonde girl in the whole town. When she walked on the street, all the women were going crazy. Because they said, and she's especially pale coloring, very white. So completely white and blonde. They were going, Davy, Davy, and they were completely, like, I couldn't go anywhere with hair. They were kidnapping her. They came, the women, and they just, pop, And Indians, I don't know if they do it today, but they have this habit with children. They always go like this with the cheek. Oh, my daughter hated that. Everybody was going, and she was like, So, but for me personally, coming to India was a very strange experience. I didn't understand anything. I don't understand Indians until today. They act in a different way. Those that were growing up in the West and they studied, that's a little bit different, I know. But India, really, I don't understand. Really. In Bengal, when you go, is it okay? Is it okay? They go, that means no in the West. When you go with a head like this, means no. In India, it means yes. This is just one example. And there are so many things. I couldn't understand anything. Just the traffic in India. You guess, what kind of traffic is this? Just honing and driving here and there, and it's not left side, It's also right side. Wherever there's a space, whoever has a bigger car, he goes. And then you go, where's the police? It's such a chaos here, where's the police? And then there's a man dressed in a quite poor uniform, and he has a bamboo stick. And he goes, and nobody cares. Everybody is doing his thing anyway. So you think, I don't say anything. But I immediately felt at home. Immediately. Even I couldn't understand the language, nothing, but I felt, here people know me to be a person. And I know them to be a person. Just getting out of the airplane. Just the customs. Now they are more okay. But in the early days, you came like this from the airplane, from the West. And the man giving you a stamp and a passport was going, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, and then was going, Prasad. You start to distribute prasadam right away in the custom office, I remember, we landed in Calcutta. The custom officer came out. That was on the way back. We bought always new medangas because they break, it's clay. So everybody had a medanga. The custom officer came immediately out because he was also from Bengal and he was from, and he was immediately going for the medanga. So we put a medanga around him, and the custom officer in his uniform was going, bap, 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 and he was really good. He played very well medanga. And he was, blah, 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 and we already immediately made a kirtan, and we danced around him. You should see the faces of the German tourists, which also were visiting India. They were going, what kind of country is this? The custom is chanting Hare Krishna, dancing with this Hare Krishnas. What is this? What kind of place is this? Because in the Western, in Germany when we came, the custom was very different. They were very cruel. They were really like dangerous sect, very dangerous. You know, it was very heavy, especially in the early days in Germany, very heavy. I don't want to go now the whole thing about this. This is not what the lecture is about. But the thing is, whenever I see Indian bodied devotees coming, I always beg them, please value your culture, value the place you come from, be proud of it. No country has Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita was spoken in Kurukshetra in India. And we don't want to discriminate. Prabhupada was very actually appreciative of any serious Christian, any serious Muslim. Prabhupada said, I grew up with Muslims. In India, it was, Muslim. What's the problem? Prabhupada said, we never had any problem. Like on Janmashtami, Krishna's appearance day, even Muslims came. We all came together. It was a holiday for everybody to celebrate. And he was reading Quran, he was reading Bhagavad Gita. We had no problem with this. Where's the problem? But Prabhupada also said, in Bhagavad Gita you find information you don't find in Quran and you don't find in a Bible. This is all books which are elevating people, if you follow strictly, to a higher type of consciousness. And they give some basic information about God, of course, but not so much detail. God appears usually as a voice from the sky. You don't find any description. How does God really look like? Where does he live? What does he do? Yeah. In Quran even they came to a misunderstanding. They are very violently opposing any form of God. Very violently. Therefore when Muslims invaded India, they were smashing in the temples the deities, forms of God. Because they said you cannot give, it stated in the Quran, you cannot give a form to God. But it's true. I cannot give any form to God. I should not speculate how God looks like. But when we find information from God himself, how he looks like, that we can accept. I never, until today, I follow Srila Prabhupada's information blindly. Because I have no way to verify why is Krishna looking like that. Why is he, I don't know. I asked devotees before I came first time, why does he look like that, God? They said, why not? He is God. He can look any way he wants. And that makes sense to me. Yeah, God can look anytime, anyway. God can manifest in any form because he's God. I cannot manifest in any form. My form is dictated to me here. I look like that and that's it. But God, he can change even forms. He can look anything. He's God. He can do anything he likes. Then suddenly that makes start to sense to me. Yeah, of course. What to speak if you are in India and you are so blessed that you are naturally accustomed to accept this. Yeah, Krishna looks. Yeah, Krishna. Prabhupada used to call this is our Krishna. Even God is property of nobody. But still, Prabhupada was so closely affiliated, he said, this is our Krishna. And naturally there is an inclination to serve. Here in the West, you find the natural inclination not to serve. People are opposing immediately. Why shall I bow down here and serve here? I want to be God. I want to be the master. I want to be the enjoyer. So there's a big, big difference. And one should use this kind of attitude to cultivate Krishna consciousness. It's the beginning. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, first you surrender, then comes knowledge. It's completely opposite to the Western understanding. In the West, they will tell you, I have to know, give me, then I maybe accept that. Krishna says, no. First you surrender, then comes knowledge. Very difficult actually. For you think, I should surrender blindly? Well, we are just laughing at the Western people because they surrender blindly anyway. You go, there's a newspaper. You know, I don't want to quote the latest headlines of the Swedish newspaper. It's so stupid, it cannot be even quoted. It's so idiotic and such a blunt lies that it cannot be even quoted. And it cannot be verified anywhere. You open the newspaper, you read, yes, that's how it is. No, how do you know? It was somebody sitting there writing something on a table because I told him to do this. That's all. It's nothing to do with reality. And there are so many false informations we get. But people think, oh, the newspaper. It's very serious. Nowadays, of course, luckily, I notice when I travel, nobody believes anything anymore anyway. People become such a cynics. They go, yeah, newspaper, and yeah, TV, and but still, if I make myself public on internet, that's serious. People don't even ask what I'm saying. They go, oh, he has, you know how many people listen to him, clicks, you know. Even there's old recordings from myself from India, from Mayapur. You find them on YouTube. My own daughter said, you know, I checked this. You know, you had 50,000 clicks on that. That's a lot. So even my daughter becomes more respectful because of my internet attendance. You know, that's not very impressive to me. I don't care how many people are clicking or not clicking. You know, it's not important. Important is what we are saying. Important is what's in the Bhagavad Gita. So more and more, Bhagavad Gita is such a unique book. It's so packed with information and knowledge, each single word. This is Vedic literature. Each single word carries such a deep meaning. Prabhupada said, if people open that book and they read only one line, that's a lot. They already made a spiritual advancement. One line. Can you imagine people get Bhagavad Gita? I remember people, Indians have no problem with that, but in the West people go, what is this? What is this? You go, this is Sanskrit. Oh, Chinese? I said, no Chinese, Sanskrit. And why is it, what is here? Well, this is translated from Sanskrit to our language. But I still cannot understand it. What is this? Sri Bhagavan Uvatsa. What is this? They don't know. And then they go, oh, what is here underneath? There's something else? He said, no, that's the individual words from this shloka explained word by word. It's very scientific. They go, oh, it's like a dictionary. I said, yeah, in one sense it is like a dictionary. And what is this? He said, well, this is the whole shloka in English, how it really sounds. And they go, okay. But this is strange language. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is this? Never heard this before. You find it only by a translation of Prabhupada. Supreme Personality of Godhead. That in itself, it's a very, very deep expression. There is a personality. Amongst many, many persons, one is supreme. Supreme personality. Okay? We don't speak about what kind of God and what religion he has or whatever. No, so he's a supreme person. That has to be understood. Then, of Godhead. What is Godhead? Head of God or Godhead? What is this? Now, Godhead means, and we know it from India, there are many different gods which are defined in Bhagavad Gita like demigods. They are half gods. Sometimes people argue, but my God is Shiva, my God is this. No, it's clearly defined in the scripture. They are demigods, half gods. And Krishna is over all them as the God head, the headmaster of the gods. Just these few words gives you lots of things to think about. This we didn't even start the rest of the shloka. This is how deep this knowledge is. You go word by word. And then I remember first time I read Bhagavad Gita, I encountered words I never heard in my whole life. Like fruitive activity. I was going, what kind of activity is this? Fruitive activity. What does it mean? I never heard this before. As a matter of fact, I knew one godbrother of mine. He translated first time Bhagavad Gita into Czech language. But he was still quite inexperienced, so he also didn't know what fruitive activity is. But Prabhupada said, we want these books being translated as fast as possible. It doesn't matter, there will be mistakes. But we will come later on back to it and correct it. But Prabhupada he was so stressing this book production and book distribution. He said, fast, fast. And we were going, yeah, fast means there will be mistakes. Prabhupada said, print it, get it out. Do it the best you can. So this devotee translated fruitive activities in Czech. Czech is a very refined language. Yeah. There are languages which are more simple, like Swedish. I can speak Swedish. Hey, nej, tak. That's already half of the language, Hey, nej, tak. And that you can come along with that. Hey, nej, tak. Oh, bro, this is not very eloquent expressions. They're cannot be more simple and more short. Because Swedish people don't like to talk very much. But the same thing in Czech, that will take longer time. It's a Slavian language, like Russian, all the type of languages. They are very similar, actually. There are many similar words. In India, you could almost say it's like a different dialects. Polish, Russian, Croatian, Balkan countries. Like my name by birth is Miroslav. With that name, I can travel the whole eastern part of Europe. And they go, oh, Miroslav, yeah, because everybody is Miroslav. It's like, so they know. It's very similar, but it's very colorful. So he translated fruitive activities in a way, activities bringing fruits. That means apple, banana, strawberries, whatever. Okay? It sounds completely crazy. The first edition of Bhagavad Gita, saying, what is this? I get hungry, Fruits, yeah, good. But it doesn't mean that. It means actually result-producing activities. Fruit, result. So in the next edition you find it corrected and expressed in a proper way. So things like that can happen. I can imagine Indian languages are also very intricate. Very intricate. I heard, that when Bengalis are joking, you will not understand anything. They have their own way of humor, and their own way of, it's very, very refined, yeah. Even for an outsider, it sounds like, what kind of language is this? But they know, they can communicate. They know even from which part of Bengal you come. They know from which part of India you come. There are so many dialects, so many things. So, this is all expression of varieties, personalities. This is the reason why when I come to India, I feel at home, because people are personal. Of course, nowadays, I don't know, it's becoming more westernized. But, but people relate to you. Sometimes nasty, not always positive. It doesn't matter, but they relate to you. They push you even physically. Here, if you push somebody on a street, it's dangerous. There's somebody going around pushing people. In India, it's a lifestyle. You go on the street and they go, and they push you all the time. And you think, oh, he touched me. What is this? Yeah. This is normal. This is all a result of a personal understanding, but in whatever perverted form it comes. And this is important to understand Krishna consciousness. If we don't accept ourselves to be persons, we have no chance to understand Krishna consciousness. I mean, if we don't understand we are persons, how can we understand the Supreme Person? Therefore, even in India, there are these Mayavadi doctrines. The impersonalism is very popular also. Because, yeah, God is energy. He's energy, you know. And he is doesn't have a person, because when he's a person, I'm a person, then we have some relationship here. And the relationship means he is God, he's great, I am small, and then the small has to serve the big one, or listen what the big one is saying. Our people don't want that. They go, oh, God is all love, love. Why only love? God can be anything. And then they are confused. Christians have a big problem with that. They say, God is love. But where is the hatred coming from? And so much cruelty. I mean, we see it all the time. So much cruelty, so many bad things happening. Who created that? They go, oh, that's Satan. That's the bad one. But how is it possible that Satan is strong like God? If God is all-powerful, then how can bad be so powerful? In Krishna consciousness, we have no problem with that. Because we understand everything comes from Krishna. Everything. You know, stupidity and intelligence, same thing. And it's quite amazing sometimes how God can make people stupid. It's almost divine. You think some people are so stupid, they will not learn anything. It doesn't matter what you tell them, it doesn't matter how you try to help them, they are anyway stupid. Because they want it. Because they are determined, stubborn. No. And stupid person will tell you, you are stupid. I am right, you are wrong. Whereby an intelligent person will think and will consider things. You know, that's how you realize a fool, he will always go, I am right, yeah. You know, but an intelligent person goes, well, we could see things also differently, you know. The Bhagavad Gita is for intelligent persons. Persons who actually want to see things in a different way as we see normally. In a way Krishna sees them. So it's such a wonderful book. If you just read that book, one book, no other book in a whole life, is perfect. And reading in Krishna consciousness doesn't mean always understanding. Just the reading will make you understand. If you just read Bhagavad Gita, even without understanding, one day you will understand. Krishna will recognize you. Oh, he is reading so sincerely. Maybe he should understand what he is reading. And he will give you that intelligence. This is so amazing. There's a famous story in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya encountering in one village somehow or other a Brahminical person, a person who was born in a Brahmana family, but he cannot read. And his spiritual master gave him an instruction. You must read Bhagavad Gita. So what did he do? He was sitting every morning opening Bhagavad Gita and he was reading Bhagavad Gita. He couldn't understand anything because he couldn't read. But he was sitting there with the Bhagavad Gita. You know. And the other Brahmanas, you know, who was reading, they were laughing about him. They're going, so, what did you read today, huh? And he was going, I cannot read, but I'm sitting here with Bhagavad Gita. When Lord Chaitanya visited that community, he immediately went to that Brahmana. And he said, my dear Brahmana, why are you reading Bhagavad Gita? You cannot read. And he said, my spiritual master told me to do this. That's the order. So I do it, even I don't have the qualification, but I do it because he told me. That's the first sign of Krishna consciousness. And then Lord Chaitanya said, but sometimes I can see you open Bhagavad Gita and you are crying. And he said, yes, I'm crying because when I look at the picture of Krishna and Arjuna, I cannot imagine how Krishna, God, can become, in a Western expression, the taxi driver of Arjuna. How merciful Krishna is. He's becoming the driver of his devotee, a servant. I mean, it's amazing. He's God. Nobody, he doesn't have to serve anybody, but he becomes the driver of Arjuna. Lord Chaitanya embraced him and he said, "You understood Bhagavad Gita," without reading it. So this is the power of these books. Now we advocate that people should read them, yeah. And you know, when I came to India first time, 1978, there were many people who couldn't read. We were going with Bhagavad Gita on the street and they were like going, "Ah, Bhagavad Gita." And they were taking the book and they were going, and they gave it back because they couldn't read. They respected that, but they couldn't read. There was a problem. Today, fortunately, that problem doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, today, book distribution in India is done on a level which was never done before. When Prabhupada came to India, he said something very shocking to the devotees, to the Western devotees. He said, there will be no book distribution here. He said, because whoever goes on a street like we do in the West here and addresses people with a, he's considered a beggar. And begging in India is considered, he's just a beggar. You know, so Prabhupada started the program called Life Membership, where devotees were addressing rich people. In India still, today probably quite different, but those days, rich meant educated, usually. Educated people, rich people. And Prabhupada made a program that devotees address them and say, "Hello, we are coming from ISKCON. You can become a life membership member, lifelong, by giving quite a big amount of money. You will get all the books coming out being printed for free, and you can stay 3 days in some ISKCON temple, which didn't exist yet." It was in the beginning. And devotees were like, "Wow, we never did this before. To whom shall we go?" And then now comes the really amazing part. Prabhupada took a paper in Calcutta, in Delhi, and in Mumbai, and he gave them a long list of names. And he said, "You should go to these rich people, to their offices, all business people, and you can offer them life membership." And devotees were going, "How does he know all this?" Prabhupada, you know, who was, of course, he was known of being extensively traveling through India as a businessman. So they were going to these rich people, and they were going, "Hare Krishna." And they were, of course, shocked because they never saw a white devotee. So they were like, "Oh, Hare Krishna, where are you coming from?" He said, "Well, you know, our spiritual master gave us your address." You know, and they showed him a picture of Prabhupada. And to their amazement, all these big rich people were going, "Oh, Abai Babu, how is he doing?" They all knew him, but as a businessman, not as a guru. Devotees were shocked. They're going, "Prabhupada knows all these big rich people and they know him." Someone that they met, you know. So, and it was quite easy. And these rich people, you know, "Okay, how much do you want?" "Okay, no, yes." Because, you know, a real businessman is charitable. He likes to show, "Oh, I have money, I can give you here, take." So then big Indian programs started. However, today in India it's different. There is a middle class of people coming who are not too rich and who are not poor. But they are capable actually to accept book just on the street, buy a book and bring it home. So book distribution in India is great. On top of that, in India, book distribution is big because there are people, it's called Shastra Dhan program, who simply sponsor books. You know, rich people who go, "I will pay for 20 pallets of Bhagavad Gita. You distribute, I will pay for it. They do that. And then devotees go around and they can either give up the book very cheap, or they have locations where people have no money, like there's libraries in jail, library in a hospital, and they deliver the books to these places. There are so many ways we can distribute books. Everybody can take part. So this is especially today relevant because today we wanted to praise and speak about Bhagavad Gita. Please, if you have some chance, give somebody Bhagavad Gita. Get a Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter if he reads it or not. You know why? Because he may give it to somebody else. I know personally many who became devotees by getting the book from somewhere. They found I remember even one of my godbrothers, he became a devotee by finding the book in a garbage bag in a street. He was going, that's interesting. I mean, you never know. These books have a life on their own. I know one godbrother who drove on a train from Amsterdam to Germany. Empty train. And then he saw there was on the shelf in the train, there was a book. So he took down the book. It was called Sri Ishopanishad. So he found it very interesting, and he was reading a small book. And the whole trip he was reading that Sri Ishopanishad. It's just few shlokas from Srila Prabhupada. Sri Ishopanishad, one of the first books he published. And then he was finding it so exciting that at the end of the book, there was addresses of the printers where the book came from. And there was written, this book is marketing ISKCON Heidelberg, German town. So he looked out of the window of the train, and the train was standing in Heidelberg, in that city. Just made a stop when he looked. So he got out of the train, went to that address, and joined the Hare Krishna movement. I asked him, what about you? You were studying, he was an artist. He said, I never went back to that. And he said, what happened to your place you were living? I mean, some student, place. You had the keys from that? He said, yeah. What did you do with that? He said, I threw the keys in a sewage, in a garbage. Never came back. This is actually how people joined in my generation. They just never went back. They just joined like this. In full confidence, God will take care of me. And you know what? We were right. I live basically until today like this. I'm not going to tell you how I live, but I live like that basically. Whatever comes, okay. When it doesn't come, I don't do it. When it comes, I use it. Simple. People cannot imagine you can live like that. This is irresponsible. Of course, then you have a family, and when you are like this, it's a little bit different. Then you need some basis, some security and something. But security what? You anyway cannot secure much. What can you secure? They have a saying in India, if God gives you with his 4 hands, or even 10 hands, how much you can take with your 2 hands? And he wants to take away from you with his 10 hands, how much you can keep with your 2 hands? Cannot. So this is the logic of a devotee. Krishna is always here, Bhagavad Gita is always here, and that, what we learn from Bhagavad Gita, that what we give to others, Bhagavad Gita, nobody can take away anymore. This is eternally recorded on our spiritual account. Krishna recorded, today, this Sunday, you came to Malmö, to this feast, to this program, and it's recorded forever. And it doesn't matter what happens when you die, or where you go, or if you stay in Sweden, or wherever, whatever. But this is recorded. This will never go in vain. Whereby anything else we do, we may lose. It comes and goes, including this body. It will vanish. So this is how beneficial Krishna consciousness is, and this is how beneficial Bhagavad Gita is. So please, 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 if you can, give it to somebody, especially coming from India. I notice when Indians distribute, it's a different thing. People go, India, because they see it's Indian, India, oh. When you tell them, yeah, this is our book here. Everybody knows Bhagavad Gita in India, which is basically true, So I am presenting my book to you, my culture to you, my Krishna consciousness to you. It's very convincing actually when Indians do that. Because people cannot argue, somebody told you something, they brainwashed you, they indoctrinated you. That's the challenges we were facing all the time. It's just some belief, some sect. You know where the word sect comes from? It's generated from the word insect. Something very small. That's what they thought we are. Because we were only a few devotees. They thought, this is just some sect. Yeah, but when you come to India, that's not a sect. Suddenly there are so many people with tilak chanting this and that, and it's, because karmis think like this, they think on numbers, they think on, So it is such a responsibility actually we have here, to give people Bhagavad Gita, to give them this book, and even you distribute one book, you never know, it can change. Prabhupada said, books are very powerful, any kind of books. They can change one book, completely the life of a person. Prabhupada gave even the example of India, how communists were preaching in India. Great influence, communists, through books. In communism, I grew up in a communistic country, partially. Printing books was very important. If you got a present, even as a small child, you know what I got when I was a small child? Always a book. Always a book. Even a worker in a factory, which, was a worker, he was just working, drinking beer and eating his meat. But as a reward for his work, he got a book. Every worker had a library at home. Even books actually he didn't read sometimes. But it had to be. You had to have a book. So the printing was very good in the communistic countries. The quality of print and the books were very, very important. Because I knew this is going to change people's lives. A book. If I talk, people go, yeah. But if I publish a book, he's a serious man. He published a book. Therefore you see all the politicians, they're always writing a book. Even they have nothing to say, they are stupid people. But they write a book. My life in Washington, book. What do the actors do? What did the actor do the whole life? Just playing, playing all kinds of crazy roles and parts. But they publish a book, autobiography, my life of Charlie Chaplin, life of this, life of that. And people read, book, serious. As soon as printed, people get more serious. Therefore, when the first books came out, Prabhupada said, now the people will start to take us seriously. Before, just chanting, singing, dancing, they're going, just some hippies. They got some idea. But when the book came, this is serious. So Prabhupada was very, very keen on this. This is not only a book, this is a representation card. This is giving us dignity, this is giving Krishna consciousness dignity, and this is the best way you can represent Srila Prabhupada. There's some questions or points to this?
Maybe a small question about, there talks about, you write in Srila Prabhupada's books, do you know anything about how to, and if books are changed, for example, there's some discussions that Prabhupada's books will change at some point in time?
You mean the editorial work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the discussion. I hear it since 30, 40 years. You know what? The first big news is, for people in general on the street, it doesn't mean one damn thing. you know, you offer him the original Bhagavad Gita from Srila Prabhupada, which is full of grammar, editorial mistakes, by the way. And you offer him the new version of Bhagavad Gita. The man will stand there with his sausage in a hand, with a beer, and going, I don't know, what is it? So what does it mean for him? The basic message is the same, whatever Bhagavad Gita you touch, you open it, we are not this body. It's not like the next edition is, actually sometimes we are the body. You know, no. In every Bhagavad Gita, the essence is preserved. The way how it's expressed, there are different opinions. Personally, I fully agree. Things should be coming to some compromise. And Prabhupada said it himself. I mentioned in the beginning that Prabhupada said, yeah, I know there will be mistakes, but he will correct it later on. I give you a practical example. In the first, first edition of Bhagavad Gita, you find the word Goraksha being explained as cattle racing. Simply raising cows. No, that's not what it means. Goraksha means protecting cows. So of course the next edition it was changed. Is it a bad change? No, it's a good change. You find an expression, there is a planet of trees in Bhagavatam. There's a planet of trees. You go, wow, it must be a foul planet, you know. It's just trees. No. The original wording is the planet of peat trees. And peat trees means the forefathers, the ancestors. It's quite a different meaning. So of course that should be changed. And there are improvements like that. Essentially for the common people, it doesn't mean one damn thing. But some devotees made it to a profession to go, you know. And I tell you, there are people who will find something anyway. It doesn't matter how you do it, they will criticize. It doesn't matter who is doing it, they will criticize him too. Some people like to do this simply. They go, I disagree. I very much disagree. There are people like that. Prabhupada gave him wonderful stories to add. Like two men arguing, what is more important, the stone or the scissors? Stupid argument. Why to discuss this even? And the one was going, stone. The one going, no, scissors. Stone. Scissors. And they got so powerful in the argument and so agitated, they were walking along the Ganges, that the man with the stone, with the fist, he punched the other one who advocated the scissors and threw him into Ganges. And the scissor man, he couldn't swim. So he was actually drowning. But still, while he was drowning, the arm came from the water going like this. The scissors. Completely stupid. Why? So this is one symptom of this age Kali, that you pick up quarrel even from a little thing. That's one problem. Otherwise, there is a very sound idea. Even from the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, who's publishing these books, let's come together. And let's, correct what is to be corrected. Let's come to a compromise. And not correct too much. That some say this is too much corrected. I would practically agree. It's unnecessary. There are expressions which is unnecessary. Why to change that? Leave it as it was. But there are things which should be corrected. And there are devotees who are very knowledgeable about this. I am not one of them. So they should actually come in, and it's a very sound idea. Let's come together and make a compromise. And let's stop discussing this forever. It's annoying. I'm hearing this discussion since 20, 30 years, What does it mean? You take Bhagavad Gita, go on a street, and tell him, this is the new edited version, this is the old version. What does it mean for people? Nothing. They know nothing about Krishna. And in every Bhagavad Gita from today you picked up, it's clearly stated Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's pretty good information. Nobody changed that. So, Anyway, so there's one of these issues. There are so many issues one can pick up and start to argue, you know. But what does it mean? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for us? We are Sweden, you know, Sweden where nobody cares really for Krishna consciousness. And we are supposed to be Krishna conscious here. That challenge. You know. They will tell you, this is some mythology. In India they teach us in the schools that this is old mythology. Stories. Yeah, Krishna, they cannot deny Krishna existed. They cannot deny that. But they go, just stories. And this is what they teach you in India. It's so insulting. Krishna is a person, supreme person, like you are a person. And I tell, actually you don't exist. You are just a mythology, you know. This is just an idea. But actually, it's just belief. People believe that you exist, but actually it's just a belief. I mean, how insulting it can be, you know. You are a person, you know. You know. There was one man, Western writer. He said, the worst insult you can do to a man when you deny his personal identity. Pretty clever statement. But unfortunately, this man never understood probably that this can apply to God also. The biggest insult, and Prabhupada said, in India there were prayers to the supreme energy. Okay? The one with no head, no legs, no eyes, you know, no face, you know, the unembodied one. Prabhupada said, listen what they are saying. Oh, the supreme one with no eyes, he's blind. No legs, he's lame. No ears, cannot hear. So they are praying to a monster. You know, they deny him these things, and then they say God is everything. Then where did you hearing and smelling and seeing came from? Then you must be more as God. Because God cannot see. God doesn't see, God doesn't hear, he has no arms, no legs. But you have arms and legs, so you must be more as him. Suddenly all the logic is gone. You see, that's how logical Prabhupada was. He was teaching us just to be plainly logical. You are speaking nonsense. That's what it is. So we have to learn to argue like that, because people will come up with this kind of thing. Why only Krishna? You know, because Krishna is everything. They always think Krishna is why to limit God to one name, Krishna? No, he has so many names and so many forms. But the origin is Krishna. Why not? He said it himself in Bhagavad Gita. I am the origin of everything. We have to learn these books. We have to learn to argue. It's not very difficult. You don't have to be a big intellectual for that. Don't allow people to insult Krishna. So this editing, you know, is a big deal. And if you want to get really confused, you take part in this internet discussion, then you get really agitated. Because internet is doing something which is completely forbidden in Vedic scripture, Vedic times. In Vedic times, to go in public place and start to preach, talk, you had to be qualified. Not everybody was allowed to do this. So any fool getting up in a marketplace and going, I sing, I believe, hallelujah, yes, I saw, and I feel deeply inside. Immediately some Brahmana will come and say, my dear sir, where did you get all the information from? He goes, no information, I feel like that. He said, well, sorry, that's good, you can feel whatever you want, but don't talk. Don't broadcast it to others. Because, you know why? Your feelings will change anyway. Feelings are changing. Truth is not changing. Truth is always there. Bhagavad Gita is always there. Nowhere in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, and how do you feel about this? Do you feel good? Nowhere. It's nowhere stated. Krishna is not appealing to Arjuna's emotions, rather he is actually smashing them. Because in the beginning Arjuna said, no, I feel terrible. I cannot fight. My mouth is drying out. I have so many doubts. I feel terrible. And Krishna is just laughing, going, oh really? That's how you feel? Really? Oh Mahabaho, oh strong-armed warrior, look at yourself. And then Krishna starts, piece after piece, step after step, explaining to him, it's not what you feel, it's what you know. And it is to know what is your duty. He starts on that level. And then duty is derived, goes higher. Duty because you have the supreme duty. And this is actually, the supreme duty is to serve me. That's the ultimate duty. Like in India, they have the word dharma. It's used for everything. Tax department dharma and government dharma, and it's all dharma. Dharma, duty. Duty to what? To whom? That's important to know. This is all defined in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Jai, thank you for coming. It's a rare experience here in this vast, empty Sweden. It must be quite terrible for you, isn't it? Coming from India to here, it's kind of silent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of silent.
Yeah. We feel that.
I see, especially in Malmö, I come to Malmö, I see, don't meet many Swedish persons here, So anybody coming from everywhere to ending up in Malmö, I see how these people walk on the street and they go like, they feel like dislocated, like, what a place, because, they are used to go on the street and it's like life. It doesn't matter when you come from Iran or from India or whatever, it's life on the street. Here you just go out and look. It's just the lights blinking. It's all automatic. Automatic. And you know what? I was in Sweden living for 28 years. And I tell you one thing. It's infectious. Because when you are living a long time in an atmosphere like this, you kind of also lose the idea to express yourself or to be a person. Because nobody encourages you really to do that. We need encouragement, to come together and encourage each other. Oh, where are you coming from? Oh, yeah, and this is what they do in India. Oh, my God. I went once on a train, Calcutta, Delhi. That's like day and night, almost, on a train. And I was thinking it was called the sleeper, the sleeping train. You know what the problem is? Nobody was sleeping. I was sitting there and they were just, they were everywhere. And they were going, prasad, prasad, prasad. And they were distributing, and they didn't know each other. I knew they don't know each other. But they were just, I didn't sleep one thing the whole night. I was going, my God, what a train is this? You go on a Swedish train, not one word. It's quite, from Malmö up to Kiruna, you can go on train, there will be not one word. Therefore, it's so difficult to preach here, because preaching starts with the fact that we are persons, we are talking to each other, we are relating to each other. Prabhupada said it when he came in Sweden out of an airplane. After 10 minutes, he said, it will be difficult to preach here. He very rarely said that. He was always very optimistic in this. Because he immediately sensed the atmosphere. Very, withdrawn. And you see the first pictures of Prabhupada in Sweden, they had a little house rented in Stockholm. So Prabhupada sits there in a lecture, and practically all the devotees sitting next to him don't come from Sweden. I knew them even. I knew even because that was actually German devotees. That was the place I joined. They came to Sweden to see Prabhupada. But Swedish devotees, very few, very, very few. And very often, when you meet a Swedish devotee, you find, oh, the grandfather was Russian. Ah, you know, it's always something you find in a back in a genetical design like that. No, it doesn't have to be like that. And actually, lots of talking still doesn't mean that you are Krishna conscious. That doesn't mean like that. But still, it's an expression, it's a person. We are all persons. In all countries I go to, you know, people are kind of expressing themselves to some degree. Different, men differently, women different. Men are more like, okay, you know, where I'm coming from, very good, what are you doing? Men like collect information. Women, they don't collect much information. They just talk. Because they are just, you know, they are on a heart level. Either good or bad, they can also hate each other, there's no problem. But, you know, but it's all heart-based. So they are all, you know. And sometimes the man goes, what are they talking about? It doesn't matter. They're just talking. By the man, they have to be always seeking a reason. What is the reason to talk? Okay? You have to have a reason to talk. Yeah, that's a good thinking. But sometimes they don't talk. Of course, nowadays we are living in times, I tell you quite frankly, it's hard. In India, it's still okay. In Russia, it's okay. In this country, it's okay still. But here, the more west you go, sometimes it's hard to tell who is a man and who is a woman. Because the women act more like men and the men like women. It's getting so confused. It's so ridiculous. Never they have this discussion. Are you a man or a woman? What kind of crazy question is this? Of course I know who I am. I just look at my body, you know that? But they discuss even that. Not only they believe, I am this body, but they don't even know anymore what kind of body they are. How much more stupid you can be. Whereby there are countries where it's clear. Women are like that, men are like that. Women can do things men cannot do. And men can do things women cannot do. It's as simple as that. So that's how Krishna arranged it, and we should keep it that way and try to coordinate things and engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. As simple as that. I was a manager for many years in Krishna consciousness. I know how to engage the woman. I'm not a woman, but I know what they can do. They can do wonderful things. And I know what a man can do. You know, so I will engage him this way. So it's like practical. Why are people wasting their time with this kind of things? So you lose even, this is called common sense, practical. Prabhupada was very much common sense, very practical, very much down to earth. There's so much to say in terms of Krishna consciousness. It's logical, it's practical, it gives you the highest knowledge, and it gives you also the way how to apply it in your daily life. Many people think, oh, I have such a high knowledge, but they don't know what to do with it. Their lives are like still confused. But by Krishna conscious knowledge manifests how much your life is not anymore confused. This is how you realize you're becoming Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada said, very important symptom of Krishna consciousness, you become happy. Satisfied. Yes. Whatever Krishna gives, okay. Satisfied. He gives this, fine. This is still the reason why you find so many happy people in India. I remember one mother of a devotee, she went first time to India. She came back, she was completely shocked. She said, I couldn't believe it. I saw in India a beggar on a street, a man, you know, he just had his little can collecting some few rupees to eat. He was completely happy. Yeah. You know, you never see such a thing in the West. In West, oh, I don't have this, and oh, I don't have that, and what happened? And, oh my God, we are finished. Oh. No, in India, well, you know, they're happy. This is shocking for the Western people. Because there is no envy. The more envy is there, the more unhappy you become. When there's no envy, you become a happy person. Yeah, okay, he is rich. That's his problem. And are rich people happy? I met quite a few very rich people in my lifetime. None of them was happy. They were even devotees, you know that? When I met Ambarish Prabhu, he is the grandson of Mr. Ford, you know, the Ford car company. Not very happy. He's very attracted to, he's a devotee. So he said, you know, I met him on the airport in Delhi, and he said, I have enough of this. I come in Delhi in an airport, you know, he's a very simple devotee, you know that? And he said, immediately the whole press is here. Ford came to India. And the only thing they ask me is about money. He said, I cannot go even peacefully to the toilet. There's always some photograph and, you know, Ford came to India, discuss business. He said, I didn't came here to discuss business. I came here to visit the Holy Dham, you know. And they're all harassing me. It's terrible to be famous. You know, they have no peace. Just imagine you are famous. You come here out of the door and there's somebody, you know. Sometimes some of these people, the famous people, they commit suicide, you know. It's nice to be a devotee. So, how much money you have? Not much. If you have not much money, nobody wants money from you. It's good. There's some peace. You know, he has no money. So then you have some peace. When you are not famous, very good. Then I go, who is this? I don't know. Yeah, okay. They leave you alone. Even to become a famous devotee is a problem. Prabhupada said, you can judge your success and your fame in a way you become criticized. There'll be always somebody coming, what is he doing? Always. But when you are just a simple devotee, yeah, so what? A very gross example, like women may get the idea, oh, I have to be very beautiful. Very, very prominent, very beautiful, you know. And they do, and they have that potential to be very beautiful. Prabhupada admitted that even. But, you know, so, but you know what happens to this really famous, beautiful women? They are miserable. And you know what? I met such women also in Krishna consciousness. You know why they're becoming, you know, interested in Krishna consciousness? Because we don't care. Oh, such a beautiful woman came to the temple. A real devotee thinks, yeah, how long? Just few years, that's how beautiful. Kamis even, they have a saying for this, that the beauty is skin deep. It's not very deep, it goes as the skin goes. And we know in Krishna consciousness, the beautiful lady, you know, you cut a little skin and you see what's coming out. That's the beauty. There's a stories to it I could tell you whole night. Prabhupada told the stories about the liquid beauty. You know that story? You heard about this? The famous story, you know. Prabhupada told how the beautiful princess was harassed by a man who wanted to marry her. And, so beautiful. And she didn't like the man. She wanted to get rid of him. So she said, no, it's okay. We will have a meeting. We will have a rendezvous. Oh, you are so beautiful. He said, you can come in 2 weeks and then you will get all my beauty. The man was fascinated. In his 2 weeks, she was just fasting, drinking heavy liquids, passing out, just throwing up, and that whatever came out collected she in the pots. So after 2 weeks, the man came and he just saw this, not so, beautiful girl. And he said, "Oh, what happened to your beauty?" She said, "Oh, no problem. I kept it all for you in the pots. You can take the pots." This is a very graphical story to illustrate that. So naturally, of course, we like, but what very few men know, and what very few people know, that behind that being recognized by the beauty, or man being recognized by the strength, or whatever recognized by the wisdom, knowledge, behind that it's actually the need we have to be recognized as a person. And that need can be easily fulfilled, easily. Because we know everybody is part of Krishna, and herewith deserve to be recognized. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the way, I brought some English Bhagavad Gitas. If anybody wants to take, please take. If you want to give some donation, it's nice, but please take. There is Bhagavad Gitas there on the table. Yeah? And give it. I think English is quite okay because that you can give to anybody practically. Now we will have Arati. Do you have could you do puja for us? To remove it, please. Such a sound sleep, I'm almost envious. So speak.
Oh my God.
Speak. Ложись, speak. Would you play with me? You ready? I think we need to charge this. Do you mind plugging it in? There's a microphone somewhere here, but we need to charge it. I think it's blinking. Okay. Is it charging? Still charging for this. Do you mind phone for me? If you need books, you need to follow.
This will not be we have one. We have printed.
Kiva Jayo Jayo Gora Chande Araji Kosho
On the way? Now we'll have Mexica for an hour. Do you have to go?
We have to go in parking is also finishing actually.
But you also have to send it.
Yeah.
Do you want to prolong it or
How more time?
maybe 15 minutes for the kitchen and then prasad?
1 hour is for long. 1 hour more.
Where is going to?
Somebody needs the book? Please. You need the book, page number 10.
This one too, but I can't set the thing. I just
Please sit down for the medicine for the now.
Divides almost 1 hour, no?
Yeah, 1 hour.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
प्रसाद महाराज की
जय।
प्रभुपाद की
जय। हरि बोल।
You could have a small kirtan while over the program. Maybe can someone play kirtan? I'll play.
Yeah.
They play harmonium. to continue.
Yeah. Sukriti.
Yeah.
Suki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Previously, India was vegetarian.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta
So we will prepare this room and we'll have some prasadam. Today the devotees who are producing vegetarian Hare Krishna, dear devotees, our viewers, we are finishing our program today. Krishna, thank you for joining.